News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. Governor Spencer Cox had alleged sexual misconduct by former Operation Underground Railroad CEO Tim Ballard appears to be criminal behavior, while also noting Ballard's presumed innocence until proven otherwise. At his monthly news conference on Thursday, Cox, who has been a lawyer, was asked if there should be a criminal investigation into Ballard.
I think that prosecutors would have a duty to investigate. Anytime you have, I don't know how many now, 6, 7, 8 women who have alleged this type of what appears to be criminal behavior, at least on their face, that there should be an investigation. Of course, everyone is presumed innocent until proven otherwise.
The governor also said it's important that justice is served. A previous investigation by Davis County Attorney Troy Rawlings into Operation Underground Railroad, the anti-human trafficking organization Ballard founded and used to run, resulted in no charges. Then a group of women once tied to OUR accused Ballard of sexual misconduct surrounding a couple's ruse purportedly aimed at deceiving traffickers into thinking Ballard and the women were romantically linked. Ballard has called the sexual misconduct allegations falsehoods and cast them as an attack on his efforts to fight human trafficking. Questions have also delved into Ballard's association with Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes. They were together on at least one Operation Underground Railroad exercise outside the country, and the two may be close. Cox said he would still be comfortable with the Attorney General's office conducting a criminal investigation into Ballard, saying the office has the ability to wall off the Attorney General.
I would be comfortable just because I know those attorneys. I work with them all of the time, and they're incredible professionals. But I understand that there may be a public perception issue that may have to be dealt with there. But I do trust them to make that decision.
A spokesman for Reyes said a case against Ballard is outside the realm of the Attorney General's office. KBNU News Time is 4:05. KBNU weather for tonight. Mostly clear skies, overnight low around 40, and then partly cloudy in the morning, becoming mostly sunny. High temperature in the low 70s, partly cloudy, lower 70s on Sunday. Rain by late Sunday night. It's been to 72 and 71 right now at KBNU. Exciting news, the asphalt is now complete on all roads at Maple Creek Ranch. Come see the fall colors and see what mountain living is all about. 2.5-acre lots are available to build your dream home. Go to maplecreekranch.net.
My hearing started to go right around the same time my wife started naming off all the upgrades she wanted done on the house. I figured it was selective hearing. To be honest, I was actually pretty upset when it was suggested that I might need hearing aids. But ultimately, I knew it was time for a change.
At Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology, we can help you regain the confidence that you're hearing life the way it was meant to be heard.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Visit cachehearing.com for details.
KBNU News Time is 4:06. A man was airlifted in critical condition after crews said he fell off a house in the Powder Mountain area of Weber County. Weber Fire said the incident happened a short time before 12:30 on Wednesday, with reports of 2 men who had fallen off of a roof. Upon arrival, one of the men was found unconscious. The man was reported to have been unconscious for about 4 to 5 minutes after suffering from head, neck, and back injuries, while it was also discovered he had suffered from a chest injury. Fire crew said they were able to transport the man via ambulance to an area where he could be airlifted, and he was then transported to a nearby hospital via helicopter. The other man involved that was involved in that refused medical help on the scene. The incident remains under investigation. They stated it was unknown why the men fell off the building, as there was no structural collapse. And a farm equipment incident in Morgan County resulted in the death of its operator, according to deputies. The incident, which is under investigation, occurred when the farm equipment unexpectedly fell into a pond Thursday night in Potterville. The operator of the machinery was pronounced dead at the scene. The specific circumstances of the incident and the identities of those involved were not immediately released. Authorities said they are still working to notify the next of kin of the victim. KBNU News Time is 4:08. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Your station for the Aggies. News Talk KVNU, 102 FM, 610 AM. And on Alexa, Google, online, or the KVNU mobile app.
Hi, everyone. It's Congressman Blake Moore here. My staff is looking forward to hosting mobile office hours on October 19th and 24th. They will be in Brigham City and Clinton City and available to address casework, resolve issues with federal agencies, and hear how we can best serve you. Come bring your questions, thoughts, or any concerns straight to Team Moore. We're here to help. On Thursday, October 19th, my staff will be at Brigham City Hall from 4 to 6 p.m. On Tuesday, October 24th, they will be at Clinton City Hall from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Please visit my website at blakemore.house.gov for more time and location details. My team looks forward to seeing you. Be sure to go to my website to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter and follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram at Rep. Blake Moore for more updates and announcements. Thank you. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Is it time to upgrade or transform your dining area? Stop in and browse U&I Furniture's big selection of dining sets. U&I just picked up a spectacular assortment from different brand name manufacturers. They have small tables for two, up to a big table for all family gatherings. U&I has lots of options, some with benches and swivel stools. And make sure you check out the chairs U&I has. Accent chairs, recliners, upholstered chairs, and more. There really is always a better buy at U&I. U&I Furniture in downtown Logan.
With the arrival of fall, potential heavy rainstorms, fallen leaves, and debris, the Cache Stormwater Coalition would like to remind you of a few things to be mindful of. Clean out all the leaves and debris from your rain gutters. Use a broom or rake to remove leaves and debris from the top of storm drains, as clogged storm drains can lead to flooding. Don't keep piles of yard waste in your yard, on the sidewalk, or street. Use a green waste recycle bin, and check with your local city office on where to place collected leaves for pickup. And when it snows, remember to keep the snow away from curb and gutter and storm drains. We can all make a difference if we do our part. Brought to you by the Cache Stormwater Coalition.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cache Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Been getting a lot of questions from listeners about various large construction road projects going on throughout the valley. One listener joking, saying, look, if you're in the central part of the valley in Logan, there's no road out of here not under construction. And that's kind of true, but this is also a good thing because every one of these projects is important. And if you've lived here your whole life, overdue is probably a good way to put it. And they're finally underway. But we reached out to our friends at UDOT, Region 1 representatives, for a general update on some of these projects, from work that's happening through Logan Canyon involving fiber optic line installation and more, to eventually give us cell phone towers throughout the canyon for public safety purposes. Especially with all the recreation up there this summer. If you saw that, you can see why this is an important thing, and more impactful, I think, to daily commutes happening along Valley View Highway SR 30. Some construction there that has led to closures off and on and things like that. So we reached out, and our good friend with UDOT Region 1, communications manager there at UDOT Region 1, Mitch Shaw, our guest. And Mitch, appreciate taking some time to join us today. These are big projects that have been in the works for many years, from discussion points to actual, first spade of dirt turned by a shovel, and it means a lot when completed to the valley headed forward, but it does come with some inconvenience. Where are things at in Region 1 in general. And I should mention this, too. Northern Utah isn't the only part of Region 1, and there are construction projects happening along there through the freeway and more. Y'all have been busy.
Yes, we have been very, very busy this year, and you're right. So Region 1 spans from, essentially Region 1 is everything north of and including right now up in the northern reaches of our state. So first one probably to kind of talk about is our SR30 project. We've had a few closures over the past couple weekends, and that's a project that we've been looking at for a long time. And that has had some impacts, and it will continue to have impacts. So that's a very important road, as people up in your neck of the woods know. Right now, we're kind of doing, and I hesitate to say this, but it's construction preparation. I know people traveling through the area will say, well, what is construction preparation? You're closing the road. So we're doing things like, we're placing some fencing, right-of-way fencing, and we're just kind of getting the area ready for construction. We're grabbing the existing surface. We actually put some drainage structure in last weekend so that water can flow underneath the highway there. And the real big sort of heavy lifting construction stuff is going to happen next year.
Sure.
So something for people to look out for. And when that happens, we're going to be adding travel lanes. We're going to increase the width of the shoulders, flattening some of the slopes. That's an issue on the road as well. And then we're also putting in a recreational trail that'll be on the south side of the highway, and then we'll have on the north side of the highway we'll have a new sidewalk. So a lot of stuff going on there. We're doing some improvements to the intersection with SR23. So it is a massive project, and we're kind of just getting ready for it right now. But yeah, that's something that people can and should expect to continue to see some travel impacts.
Sure, a multi-year project, right? Including,
yes,
as I understand it, it requires wetlands mitigation for wetlands that will be displaced. It requires. You mentioned that intersection. Many people in the valley know that has been a dangerous intersection for a long time. The end result of this, a much safer intersection there, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, safety's our top priority. I mean, we're adding some, we're adding some capacity as well. But yeah, the big thing is it's going to be safer. And then, people will have the added benefit of things will be smoother to drive on, and their commute times will be less. So
sure.
Right now we've been having like some temporary single lane closures, just to facilitate some of the work we're doing, and we try to keep those closures. We try to keep the delay to 5 minutes in the daytime.
Oh wow!
And then we're also doing it at night, and then those night delays or weekend delays, we can go up to 15 minutes, but we're trying to keep those to a minimum. 5 minutes is not super long, but we anticipate those kind of temporary lane closures to be in place until 2023.
Sure.
Or sorry, the end of this year, the end of 2023, and then, like I said, once spring hits and the weather starts getting warmer, then you're going to see some bigger construction activities out there next year.
And at that point, it's fair to say we should all count on and just plan for longer-term single-lane closures and things like that, understandably, as that construction begins, right?
Yeah. And, it's always, we know going in that these projects can be very impactful, and they are at times. People will have to, like the detour we had detour we suggested last week could have added, half an hour to your trip. So
sure,
we know that's nothing, to downplay. That's a significant impact. So we're trying to, get the message out, and thank you for your help in doing that. But trying to get the message out so people just at least know what to expect and that they can plan ahead.
Sure. And understandably, when it comes to SR30, it's a unique road. In most situations where a significantly traveled highway is being closed temporarily, the detour is, a couple blocks this way or that way and then back around. You're talking about a road that is surrounded by wetlands, and there's not really a decent route near. So I've been telling everyone, Mitch, just take the canyon, just go through Sardine Canyon to Brigham City. It's going to save you time, especially next year, but Has the project run into unexpecteds, or is everything kind of on pace as expected?
Yeah, things are on pace right now. So, like I said, heavy construction doesn't begin until next year. But yeah, things are going well. We're moving along right now, and we're preparing for this. What will be a pretty busy construction season next year.
Absolutely, throughout Cache Valley and all of Region 1, no doubt. But
yes,
for listeners, again, we're speaking with Communications Director for UDOT Region 1, Mitch Shaw. And Mitch, before we let you go today, there's another project, another frequently traveled route out of the valley without good alternatives, Logan Canyon through to Garden City. But this is a much more mild as far as traffic impact construction project, but also with an important public safety factor.
Yeah, so the Logan Canyon project is something... we're installing fiber conduit up there. So, something that people have kind of pointed out in the past is that you drive up Logan Canyon and you don't really have cell phone service up there.
Sure.
And that can be problematic because if there's a crash up there, that can take, it's not just a quick cell phone call to alert the authorities. So, that's something that will be improved with this project we're doing, and we've been doing this project in phases, and it still needs some funding to be totally complete. But yeah, we're working up there right now on a section, and we're going to probably be working up there until October for this particular section. Good news is we typically aren't closing the canyon, so people should be able to travel through there. Could be some delays sometimes, but yeah, this is another one of those projects where, for our concern, or for our concern as well, is it's going to allow us to install traffic cameras up there and traffic sensors. Sorry,
that's great.
And then also you see on a lot of roads up there, we have the electronic message boards. This will allow us to have our changeable message signs, so we can change them remotely. So whatever, if there's a big weather impact ahead, or if we need to provide some sort of information to the travelers, this is a project that will allow us to do stuff like that as well. So this is another project that definitely has its impacts to the traveling public, and can kind of be, annoying, for lack of a better term, to people traveling through the canyon sometimes, but we think it's a necessity, and when all is said and done, it's going to be a much safer route to travel for the people of Utah and people traveling through Utah.
Sure. Mitch, I appreciate you taking some time for KVNU today. And one last thing that I always like to throw out here, just as when we speak with the Highway Patrol or anyone involved with this, when you see these UDOT crews on the road, when you see the flaggers, when you see the reflective vests, slow down, give them some space. So there's no need for you to be right up against where they are working. And speed is a factor in almost every construction-related traffic accident that Utah has ever seen. So just, respect the fact that they're out there doing work that in the end, it's annoying right now as we can all agree, but in the end makes things better, improves public safety, makes travel faster and safer. And Mitch Shaw, Communications Manager with UDOT Region 1. Again, appreciate taking some time for KVNU today.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
And thanks to our listeners for being with us. Stick around. More to come right after this.
Bank of Utah's 11th annual Warm Bodies, Warm Souls clothing drive is going through November 10th. They're collecting warm clothing items for 12 different charitable institutions. Drop off your clothing donations to any participating Red Hanger, Arctic Circle, or Bank of Utah location. You'll receive a free double cheeseburger coupon from Arctic Circle or a free shirt cleaning voucher from Red Hanger. Donate gently used coats, hats, scarves, gloves, blankets, or new underwear. Bank of Utah. Together, we are Utah. Find out more at bankofutah.com. Member FDIC, MMLS number 422914.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
The Cache Valley Media Group Logan Holiday Gift Show is presented by Coppins Hallmark Friday and Saturday, November 3rd and 4th at the Riverwoods Conference Center. It's the perfect place to kick off your holiday shopping. Ideas and treats for the entire family. Clothing, books, jewelry, purses, home and holiday decor, baby items, and don't miss everyone's favorite guest, Santa. The Logan Holiday Gift Show presented by Coppins Hallmark Friday and Saturday, November 3rd and 4th at the Riverwoods Conference Center. Start your holiday shopping off right.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Hour 2 of today's show with a very special guest joining us here. I say this all the time on the show. No race should ever go unchallenged. And in Utah, oftentimes the real challenge in any election, being a Republican-dominated state, is in a Republican primary. And with that in mind, news a few weeks ago that State Representative Phil Lyman was joining the gubernatorial race here in Utah. He will challenge current Governor Spencer Cox, and he has announced that officially again a few weeks ago. And I've posted some information where you can contact Phil, get in touch with his campaign and more on our Facebook page, but we'll talk about it here as well. Representative Lyman will actually be in Cache Valley this week. And Representative Lyman, I thought about saying you represent a House district in the southern part of the state, but that doesn't really capture the district you represent. It is the southernmost southern part of the state, right? This is a very rural district, and I assume that that's part of the reason you decided to throw your hat in the ring.
Well, yeah, I mean, District 69 is huge. It's by far the biggest House district. There's 75 districts, and mine covers close to a third of the state with Kane, Wayne, Garfield, Emery, Grand, and San Juan counties, pretty much all of those in it. So it's really big geographically, but has the same number of people as the other districts. So, yeah. Sure.
For those who aren't familiar, I've posted a map on our Facebook page as well. And Representative Lyman, this is... we face this here in Cache Valley. I get frustrated because our lawmakers, when the session is in, will refer to Cache Valley as a satellite community. We've lost that official rural designation. We're now considered a satellite community of the Wasatch Front. But most of northern Utah, at least in our minds, and in Ridge County and Box Elder County, still very much the case, also a very rural part of the state. And sometimes, I'll be honest, it seems as if the urban areas where, granted, most people live, dominate the legislative session and a lot of our policy.
Well, it's interesting. Utah is not, even if you live in the urban areas, it's not Chicago or Los Angeles. It's still Utah. It's still the West. And
sure.
And I think sometimes, like our county class designations do more of a disservice than a service because they try to differentiate based just on the population of the county. So you get a county, say like Tooele, that has some pretty good population, but it's still very, population density is very low. Or even you go into Davis County and Salt Lake, and the people live there because they kind of identify with this Western lifestyle. They like the mountains and the skiing and the outdoors, and so they may live in a city, but they still live there. They still live in Utah because they like being, in the West and having kind of that rugged individualist lifestyle. I believe.
Sure. I've always, I've followed the legislature for a long time, and I've always thought when it comes to you, Representative Lyman, you're you wear a few different hats. You can be a bit of a firebrand on Twitter, stirring up some controversy here and there. Most people who have maybe Googled your name might find stories about the ATV protest and the arrest and the pardon from President Trump. But as a lawmaker. You're not a bomb thrower. You're not there to muck up the works. In fact, looking over some of your legislation just the last few sessions before the interview today, you've got some red meat issues like independent election audits and firearm possession laws. But you also worked with Democrats on child abuse reporting amendments, which I think. Honestly, that combined with some work of Senator Todd Weiler this past session were two of the most important bills of the session, but didn't get a headline, unfortunately. But can you talk a little bit about your philosophy to being a lawmaker and how that would, how you'll translate that over into the governor's office if elected?
Yeah, and I appreciate the question and the way you framed that. One of the most surprising things to me when I got in the legislature was kind of the fluidity of our laws and how easy it was to make a law.
Sure.
Sitting in a committee talking about, transitional therapy for kids who are transitioning genders, and it's like I'm sitting there thinking, this is way above my pay grade. We should have qualified people that are talking about this. But that's the way it is. You get a citizen legislature, they come up and you find out really quickly you've got to do a lot of homework and you've got to think through things. You've got to talk to a lot of people and get their perspectives, and so that's been really eye-opening. And I love the legislature. I feel like too often we delegate our real authority to the agencies for rulemaking, like the Department of Health, where people elect us and vote for us. Sometimes we don't pass clear enough laws. We just hand it off to the executive agencies. And if I were the governor, I would push to tell the legislature to, go back, do your job. I'd like to see more resources devoted to the legislature and less to the executive branch.
Sure.
So that those things can be done by a true representative body that listens to their constituents and who's politically accountable for the decisions they make, and they can't just pass the buck off. So I guess if you're saying how would that translate to the governor's office, that's the first thing I would do. One of the first things I would do is try to empower the legislature to be more informed and effective in the decisions that they're making, and then send bills back to them that leave too much, to the rulemaking power of the agencies. I think that does a disservice to the citizen.
It's often, I don't think the media necessarily does this on purpose, but sometimes you read the headlines of a legislative session, and it's easy to miss the fact that this is my favorite part of the legislature. It is rarely, because there are so few of them, it's rarely a fight between Republicans and Democrats. Those issues, when they do pop up, make a lot of headlines, and people get the impression that's how the legislature works. But it's more often an argument between the House and the Senate, or the House and the Senate and the governor's office. And that's always been fascinating to me. And one of my favorite questions, because I wish we saw more of it actually sometimes, but for anyone running for governor, would you be willing to use that veto pen? Do you think it's used enough? Is there a healthy tension between the executive and the legislature now? And if not, would you change that?
Oh, I don't think right now that there is near enough tension between the executive and the legislative, and that's another frustration that I've had in the legislature is you get leadership, meaning the Senate President, the Speaker of the House, and they'll come and say, this is what we've decided that we're doing. Take some of the COVID responses, for example. It's like, this is what we're doing. It's like, well, I'm in the legislature and we didn't vote on that, and why is that just being handed to us as a pre-drawn conclusion? And then they want us to go vote on it, but they expect what they expect. And for me, that doesn't really cut it. And then they say, well, how did we get to this decision? Oh, well, it's the Capital Preservation Group. It's, well, who is that? Well, it's the Speaker and the Governor and the Senate President, and usually Chem Gardner Institute's involved in there. And pretty soon it's like, man, who is making policy decisions in the state? If it's not the legislature, then it's something that wasn't authorized to be making those decisions. And again, the ability for people to unelect those that are making decisions that affect them has to be there. And right now, I think there's too little of that, mainly because it's getting done in a lot of cases. It's getting done through lobbyists and kind of big organizations that influence legislation.
Sure. I remember years ago when Paul Miro was still heading up the Sutherland Institute, he launched a project, and sadly it kind of fizzled, but the Sutherland Institute was pushing for a full review of all the state boards and committees and task forces. Some of them had existed for 50 years, and no one could remember why. That's an example of what you're talking about, right? These are not elected positions, and sometimes they're just there to make recommendations to the legislature, but other times they do actually have decision-making power for rules and guidelines for agencies, right?
Right, yeah, and that's, you have these committees and things, and that's one thing. I think we've got like 1,200 committees. I should know that number, but it's a lot of committees, and you every year we go through to kind of trim those down, and you find out most of them are there for a good purpose, and the people that are on them are serving diligently. And the place where I get the heartburn is in the actual executive agencies, like, for example, the Department of Health. And I don't mean to beat up on the Department of Health or Department of Education or any of the other agencies, DNR, DWR. We pass a bill that says, generally this is what we want, and we leave it to the health department to say, okay, we'll go into rulemaking mode and we'll decide. And a lot of times the end result is something that doesn't resemble very closely the intent of the bill that was passed. The State Tax Commission is another one of those, but they do their best. I'm not criticizing them. I'm criticizing the legislature's willingness to hand off that responsibility that they alone should bear.
Our guest again is State Representative representing Utah's 69th District, the southeastern portion of the state, roughly, Representative Phil Lyman. He's thrown his hat in the ring to run for governor, announcing early, though the race really won't get underway aggressively until after the legislative session next year. He's thrown his hat in the ring now. Governor Spencer Cox has also announced his plan to run for re-election. No other names seriously thrown in at this point, but it's always good for someone to have a challenger, I say. So please get to know the candidates. You can get in touch with Representative Phil Lyman at Lyman for Utah, spelled out F-O-R, Lyman, and that's L-Y-M-A-N, lymanforutah.com. He's our guest here this hour again, talking about his reasons for jumping in the race and, if elected, what he would like to see change here in Utah, what he would like to see the same. Also, Representative Lyman will be here in Cache Valley this Thursday. A meet and greet event has been planned by Cache Valley conservatives at the historic Cache County Courthouse this Thursday, 6 to 9 p.m. So perfect timing. You can listen to this show. Maybe make sure you're in the parking lot when we wrap up at 6, and then head straight into the event. A meet and greet event, 3 full hours, 6 to 9 p.m. at the historic Cache County Courthouse. The organizers have told me there's no planned agenda or schedule for this, no program per se. A small presentation and speech by Representative Lyman, and then a Q&A from those in attendance. Every question is fair. Again, Representative Lyman is our guest here this hour. If you have questions yourself, you're welcome to join us. A few coming in through texts and more. We'll get to those, talk more with Representative Lyman throughout the hour here right after this quick break. Look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time 436. You have been listening to an encore performance or encore episode of KVNU's For the People. We have Logan High football in the next 10 minutes here as they're playing in their 4A playoff game, first round at Dixie this afternoon. We'll have that for you here on KVNU shortly. In a solemn display of solidarity, approximately 50 students and community members displaying Palestinian flags, signs, and candles marched in silence across Utah State University on Thursday. The demonstration, organized by the Graduate Students of Color Association, aimed to show support for the Palestinian children and women who have lost their lives in the recent conflict. Among the participants was Saeed Gabean, who joined the rally after suffering personal losses in the overseas conflict. Gabean revealed the heart-wrenching loss of 3 young family members, ages 4, 6, and 10. In response to the peaceful demonstration, a group also organized a pro-Israel protest. While the two groups coexisted on campus, interactions were limited. The rallies came the same day USU President Elizabeth Cantwell sent a letter to students, staff, and faculty condemning terrorism and expressing remorse for the escalating violence against innocent individuals and families. A portion of the statement read, "As a modern land-grant university, our purpose is to serve as a catalyst for discourse and engagement that enhances our communities. We are committed to providing space for open and respectful dialogue, even when addressing deeply painful and complex issues, such as international conflicts that affect members of our Aggie family." Part of Cantwell's statement. The demonstration at USU remained peaceful and quiet, contrasting with louder and more heated rallies seen on college campuses across the nation. At other institutions, police officers and barricades were needed to manage escalating tensions. The Granite School District announced the sudden death of Taylorsville High School principal Mrs. Emmy Little. According to a statement released on Thursday by the school district's Associate Director of Communications and Community Outreach, Little passed away as a result of undisclosed health complications on Wednesday night. Superintendent Rich Nye of the Granite School District released a statement to parents and students of Taylorsville High on Thursday morning. It stated in part, "We regret to inform you of the passing of our beloved principal of Taylorsville High, Mrs. Emmy Little. Her passing came very unexpectedly as a result of health complications. We express our profound condolences to her family and friends and want to ensure that our students and staff have the support they may need." The district placed a crisis team at the school for any students who may need help. Nye concluded the statement, writing, "We are very saddened by this news and extend our deepest sympathies to all whose lives were touched by her caring leadership." KVNU News Time is 4:39.
Hi there. We're your new neighbors, the Voles. I'm Horrible, and this is my wife, Terrible. Hi! It's been such a great summer, we gotta have an army of children. Now we're fixing to tear up your yard. The only warning sign of us is some surface tunneling holes, and then boom! Yard death! What do you think? Should we get started, Ma? Yep. These guys aren't gonna call it troops at Logan Extermination.
Voles are a problem. They can tear up your lawn and garden. But there is something you can do. Call Logan Extermination at 752-8450.
Freed by Hamas, now back in Israel, 2 American hostages, mother and daughter. As far as what's next, investigators will be questioning them about things like, did they see anybody who looked like leaders? That according to ABC's Matt Gutman in Tel Aviv.
They look physically healthy, but they will undergo a pretty extensive medical checkup. That's the first thing that they will likely do. I've spoken to a hostage who was released by Al-Qaeda earlier this year, and interrogators, questioners will want to know things like, who were they with in terms of hostages? What languages did they hear while they were in there? Did they get a sense of where they were? Were there any particular smells? What kind of cell were they in? Who were their captors? Were there young people, old people? Did they seem like veteran fighters or sort of like back-end guards?
There's fighting between Israeli militants in neighboring Lebanon to the north, and there are evacuations in Lebanese and Israeli border towns. With continuing coverage, the Israel-Hamas war. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
KVNU weather for tonight, mostly clear skies, low around 40. Another sunny to partly cloudy day tomorrow. Nice afternoon around 72. And still nice on Sunday in the low 70s. It's been to 73. It's 71 right now at KVNU. Logan Extermination says make sure to call them today and get a winter fertilizer application on your lawn so you can see a greener, more lush lawn sooner next spring. Call 435-752-8450. If you'd like more information on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com. Stay tuned next. Logan High football on the way, the 4A football playoffs at Dixie. We will bring you the coverage next on KBNU. Let's check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Ray Dow Gibbons bringing you the Daily Financial Markets Report on behalf of financial advisor Tron Arnold and Edward Jones for Friday, October 20th. Equity markets finished down for the fourth straight session, giving up the early October gains. The rally in Treasury yields to new highs for this cycle and heightened geopolitical uncertainty in the Middle East are keeping investors on their toes. However, yields were lower today, providing some relief after the Federal Chairman Powell highlighted a balanced message about the outlook for interest rates. Today, the Dow Jones closed down 287 points at 33,127. On the NASDAQ, it closed down 202 points at 12,984. And the S&P closed down 54 points at 4,224. In the bond market, the 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 4.92% lower. For stocks of local interest, Thermo Fisher changed down $5.31 at $464.36. Home Depot is down 36 cents at $286.41. Autoleve's up $6.32 at 96.49. Lowe's is up 4 cents at 190.50. Walmart's down $2.01 at $158.76. Nucor is down $2.39 at 141.36. Coca-Cola is up 22 cents at 54.57. Kroger's down 37 cents at 44.13. General Electric's down 87 cents at 106.08. The price of crude oil today was flat at $88.29, and the price of gold was up at $1,991.40. This has been today's Financial Market Report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, a member of the SIPC, and financial advisor Tron Arnold, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice, located at 1202 South Highway 89 in Logan, Utah. If you'd like additional information, please contact our branch office at 752-3400. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
Hi everyone, it's Congressman Blake Moore here. My staff is looking forward to hosting mobile office hours on October 19th and 24th. They will be in Brigham City and Clinton City and available to address casework, resolve issues with federal agencies, and hear how we can best serve you. Come bring your questions, thoughts, or any concerns straight to Team Moore. We're here to help. On Thursday, October 19th, my staff will be at Brigham City Hall from 4 to 6 p.m. On Tuesday, October 24th, they will be at Clinton City Hall from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Please visit my website at blakemore.house.gov for more time and location details. My team looks forward to seeing you. Be sure to go to my website to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter and follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram at Rep. Blake Moore for more updates and announcements. Thank you. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Don't let concerns about today's events derail your long-term financial strategy. Edward Jones Financial Advisors can help work with you to understand today's financial landscape and how to be positioned for the long term. Edward Jones can give you the tools for a reasoned, disciplined approach to investing. Get started by calling one of the 7 Edward Jones locations in Cache Valley. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Even though the weather's grown colder, you still have time to have your fruit trees pruned. Logan Extermination says your trees need to be trimmed back in order to achieve success next year. And this is the first step to a bountiful harvest. However, you could do more bad than good if you don't know what you're doing. Save the headache and call Logan Extermination today and get a jump on tree pruning. Prices will vary depending on your needs. Logan Extermination, 752-8450.
We invite you to join us at S.E. Needham Jewelers for an exclusive estate and antique jewelry event this Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st. The beauty of antique jewelry shines again at this extraordinary jewelry event. Select from a collection of jewelry from the Georgian, Victorian, Edwardian, and Art Deco periods. Many contemporary treasures, exotic gems, and one-of-a-kind pieces are also available. You will marvel at the craftsmanship and pride of eras gone past. Again, join us all day Friday and Saturday, October 20th and 21st from 10 to 7 p.m. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Beazer Lock and Key specializes in securing your world with their expertise in locks, keys, and hardware. Every aspect of their services is meticulously tailored to ensure your safety. They offer a vast selection of hardware brands and access control options, along with custom master key systems. With Beazer Lock and Key, you have control of your facility's access 24/7. For 28 years, Beazer has provided top-notch security solutions that stand unmatched in the industry. Visit 4th North, 1st West in Logan, or go to BeazerLock.com to discover more.
Elements has delicious lunch specials. Soup, salad, and bread for just $10 is tasty and quick. Elements' lunch menu is full of scrumptious items. Wood-fired pizzas are an excellent choice that include barbecued chicken and the bee's knees. The fresh battered halibut fish and chips with seasoned fries is always a hit. And don't forget the fan favorite, Chipotle fried chicken sandwich. Thursdays, enjoy Elements house-made smoked brisket, casual or professional. Open Monday through Thursday, 11:30 to 8 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11:30 to 9. Visit theelementsrestaurant.com for reservations.
Want to get your flower beds and yard ready for a beautiful spring? Plant bulbs. Anderson Seed and Garden has dozens of bulb varieties in stock right now. They will burst next spring with amazing color. We have a huge selection of tulips, daffodils, crocus, hyacinth, allium bulbs, and a whole lot more. There's no better time than right now to plant bulbs for an amazing flower display next year. Come see what's new at Anderson Seed and Garden, 69 West Center in Logan.
Is it time to upgrade or transform your dining area? Stop in and browse U&I Furniture's big selection of dining sets. U&I just picked up a spectacular assortment from different brand name manufacturers. They have small tables for two, up to a big table for all family gatherings. U&I has lots of options, some with benches and swivel stools. And make sure you check out the chairs U&I has. Accent chairs, recliners, upholstered chairs, and more. There really is always a better buy at U&I. U&I Furniture in downtown Logan.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Just a reminder, a very short show today. The upcoming Logan High football game tip-off at 5 o'clock will be preceded by a bit of pregame. Our friends in St. George are setting up now, so as soon as they're ready, we'll wrap up the show here and be back on Monday. Talk a little bit about this today. Oh, by the way, that game, the Logan High taking on the Dixie Flyers, tip-off at 5. Also streaming video at cashvalleydaily.com, as well as the live broadcast here on KVNU tonight. So that's at 5 o'clock. More games starting at 6 in opening rounds of the high school playoffs. You can find the full schedule and each station you can listen at cashvalleydaily.com, where you'll also find the streaming video for all of those games as well if you prefer to watch that way. So that's, again, coming up at 5 o'clock tip-off time here on KVNU for Logan High down in St. George, taking on the Dixie Flyers. Logan High number 20, Dixie Flyers number 13. Should be a pretty good game. So we talked with our friend Anna of the, I'm going to try and get this right because it's a long name, Utah State University's Janet Quinney Lawson Institute for Land, Water, and Air. Anna joined us a couple of weeks ago. She'll be back with us at the start of November. We'll do this each month until the end of the year, spotlighting a portion of the big annual report they present each year to Governor Cox. That report is officially out. That's right. We got a preview of it 2 weeks ago here on the show, and you can listen to that interview with Anna via our podcast. But the report was published today. We'll talk about it in more detail next week, and again when Anna joins us the week after that. But overall, the report basically found that Utah is seeing some positive effects of our efforts, but they are being overshadowed by the negative effects of an obviously changing climate. This is despite record-breaking snow. The USU report to the governor said we'd need about 6 more winters like last winter to catch up for what we've lost in the last 10-plus years of increasingly intense
drought. Of course, most intense in the 2 years prior to last year, or this year, but it's been building each and every year. Dr. Brian Steed, who heads the Institute and is also heading up the governor and the legislature's Save the Great Salt Lake effort, said over time you have warmer winters, we have warmer summers, and we have summers that are warmer and longer. And that's, increases over time. Researchers noted in the report that while the 22-23 winter was colder than average and wetter than average, it did not break the trend of rising winter temperatures in Utah. Data for that, by the way, goes back to 1948. So when it comes to water conservation, we've made some great strides. We're getting better at conserving water, and certainly that's been on everybody's mind, and that's one of the reasons we've gotten better about that, according to Dr. Sarah Knoll, who is a watershed sciences professor at USU, contributing to the report. Dr. Knoll said that this water shepherding mentality has really made a difference. But again, not enough yet to overcome the effects of our changing climate. Things getting warmer increasingly. The Great Salt Lake, of course, was center stage in much of the report. Biggest ecological challenge in the state right now. So understandably, Lake hit its lowest point in recorded history last summer. And that's scary stuff. Or last year, in 2022. So that's not good, obviously. And then exposed lake bed presents additional challenges. Dust pollution, much of that toxic metals floating in the air. But then, of course, that dust then lands on the winter snowpack and causes it to melt faster. So our snowpack doesn't stick around as long as it should. You can see, this snake feeding itself aspect to the report. Dr. Randy Martin, Associate Research Professor of Utah State University and frequent guest here on our show, by the way, said on a really dusty day, no surprise, you're breathing in about 10 to 20 times more dust, and it's not just nuisance dust.
Logan High School Sports, a presentation of KVNU 610 AM, 102.1 FM, and CashValleyDaily.com. Brought to you